I'll start from the topic of safety and reliability. How you have incorporated these two traits in your products, and there have been quite a number of questions historically on electric two-wheelers. So, if you can, talk about that.
Right. So, reliability was a topic we took very seriously very early on. Our view always was that EV industry, basically automotive business, the entire game is really building a credible name. The competition that we were up against, and we still are up against, are people who build their reputation and brands over 30, 40, 50, 60 years, 100 years in one case. So you're really fighting an uphill battle in consumer perception. So we've always seen this business as essentially a brand building play, and to build a brand, आपको product reliability, product quality पे काफी काम करने की जरूरत है. So if you see our timeline, 2013 we started the business. We launched our first product in 2018. And in the interim, we built one of the largest R&Ds anywhere in the world for electric two-wheelers. And most of the time was spent not in building a prototype or a concept. Most of the time was spent in actually coming up with testing standards, coming up with all these qualification standards, and running the vehicle to something like 2,500 tests. And we've continued to repeat the process every year since then. So reliability is something we took very seriously, and I think it's worked out well. I think it's helped us build a very credible reputation today in the industry, where despite being a startup, often our products are seen as the more superior quality product. Safety is a new emerging trend that's kind of landed as a big opportunity. Kudos to some great work done by folks like brands like Tata. Safety has really risen up the consumer's stack rank. What does the consumer care about? And automotive safety is going up that ladder. So we started initially building in, because our product had a lot of tech on it, it was connected, tracking was easier. So we started building in these safety features of vehicle tracking, accident detection, live location sharing, and then over a period of time extended that by bringing in things like skid control. So safety has become a pretty big lever for us. It does drive a lot of consumer interest. People care about it in India increasingly now. People are willing to pay for safety in a big way, and obviously reliability.
My one question, when you talk about testing standards, these testing standards, did you have to devise yourself, or were there some global benchmarks that you were following?
No, we had to come pretty much with all of them ourselves internally.
Okay.
The awkward thing about our industry is कि electric two-wheelers में India छोड़ के कहीं और ज़्यादा काम होता नहीं है globally. Yes, we have all heard China has a lot of electric scooters, but China का electric two-wheeler industry is like a shadow of what India's e-two-wheeler industry is. China's e-two-wheeler market is heavily commoditized. It's full of fairly entry-level, simple products, not a lot of sophistication. And hence not a lot of testing or reliability requirements. And if you take India and China out, and Japan does not build electric, there's really not much work happening. So we had to come up with a lot of these standards ourselves, and I think that's built a lot of strength, because that's one of the moats in our business. और किसी ने with the standards develop किए नहीं थे, and outside India nobody even has an incentive to do it. So a lot of fundamental work. In fact, a lot of our IP is probably in development of these testing protocols and standards, which really are within Ather.
One question is about the churn that we have seen in the electric two-wheeler market in the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, the companies that we were seeing in the top 5 probably 3 or 4 years back are nowhere to be seen. Established players have now taken up the place. You are number 3rd in calendar year, last calendar year. Others are TVS, Bajaj are already there. So what has happened in the market? What has changed for the customer? What is going on in their mindset?
Our industry is very interesting, because 4 साल पहले the primary story was कि this is a very fragmented industry, and there was this perception कि building electric scooters is very simple. एक मोटर लगानी है, बैटरी के पॉजिटिव नेगेटिव टर्मिनल को कनेक्ट करना है, व्हील्स वगैरह सब सिंपल है, कोई भी बना लेगा. That narrative didn't really play out, because people who built vehicles with that mindset, कि EVs are very simple and very easy, ended up building very low quality products. And we've been a big believer that India is a very serious two-wheeler market. We don't actually, we generally do not like the entry-level spec. आप अगर हमारे स्कूटर्स में भी देखेंगे, पेट्रोल स्कूटर्स में भी, below 110 cc the market basically dies. And even 110 cc itself is dying, with the market migrating up to 125 cc. So the industry, unlike China or parts of Southeast Asia, is काफ़ी premium, wants to buy good products. And to build those good products, you actually have to do a lot of R&D. I would say the entry barrier to build something like this is now a few thousand crores in terms of product development and R&D investment required. So we've swung. 4-5 साल पहले the image was कि यार anybody with like 10 crores and like 10 engineers will start an EV company. To today, this industry is even more consolidated than the petrol scooter industry. जहाँ पे you still have 7-8 brands, यहाँ पे you only have like practically 4-5 brands. So considerable काफी consolidation हुआ है, and this is maybe the counterpoint to what a lot of people believe. The reason इतना consolidation हुआ है is because the effort required to build an electric scooter has gone up by an order of magnitude. The complexity, particularly with electronics and software, is just phenomenally high. And the bar that our industry has set up, and I'm not just speaking Ather ke liye, I'm speaking even for our peers, the bar that all of us have cumulatively set up is now quite high. So there is, like, even external competition is practically non-existent. It's Indian players who are really playing today at the forefront of what are electric two-wheelers and are really defining the limits of this industry.
But you are then coming up with a EL platform which will be lower price architecture. I wanted to understand that how will you be able to protect your margins? I mean, you are already close to break even, but how will you be able to protect your margins once you bring EL platform and the products related to that?
So we announced EL last year. EL is, and we've announced that EL is going to be cheaper than our current portfolio. But the genesis is different. Its origin different. What we realized is there are two primary reasons why people are buying an Ather vehicle today. It's the quality of our powertrain, battery, motor. There's just the stability, reliability. वो बारिश में भी work कर रहा है, 10 साल तक काम कर रहा है. It's reliable. And the second is our software, where Ather is head and shoulders above any global player today. In fact, Ather is able to unlock a new business model where we are able to sell software on top of the base vehicle hardware. And today an Indian consumer is paying 15, 18, 20,000 rupees extra to buy those features. So what we realize is कि यार ये दो चीज़ों में हमारा काफ़ी differentiation है, which is hardware, which is electric powertrain और software. Let's keep this consistent. इसको नहीं touch करता है. But there are a lot of mechanical choices that we made over the previous years, जहाँ पे that's not the reason for you to buy an Ather. For example, an aluminum frame or a belt transmission. Those are not, like, a lot of scooter buyers don't even notice it. So we decided to simplify the architecture, particularly because scale is going up. And that's how this new platform EL is born, on the opportunity to drop cost on the mechanical side, but with the same electricals and same software. And that's how our cost is coming down. But not by features cut kar do, quality kam kar do, reliability kam kar do, battery choti kar do. Those are not the primary angles. So this was a big opportunity. It was there in our face for the last 1-2 साल से हमारे सामने था. So we decided to just take it by building EL as a new platform.
But will it be priced close to 1 lakh rupees? Because I think Rista is around 1.24. So how far down can you bring the price down?
For us, the Lakshman Rekha is at 1 lakh. Will likely not go below that. But we think we can get close to it, but not below lakh. Lakh के नीचे नहीं आएंगे. But yes, काफ़ी gap है. 1 lakh से 1.25 lakh के बीच में. And that is a big opportunity for us. So EL will obviously play in a big way there. But will not go below a lakh because, that's not our segment. We don't think we can do justice to it.
Tarun, you also talked about software. And in software, I was reading that 91% of your new customers are taking up the Pro Pack suite, which provides, additional features. I just wanted to understand how important it is for you in revenue terms. What's its share? Where do you see it going in the next 3 to 5 years? Yeah. And also, can it become a recurring revenue feature? Because right now it's, I think, one-time revenue feature.
Yeah. So we came up with Pro Pack in a really bad time of Ather, when our margins were brutally bad and subsidies were starting to come down. So there was a lot of panic about, how will we manage margins, how will we grow the business, how will we grow our bottom line. So we realized कि हमने काफ़ी software features build कर दिए and we're building them with a lot of differentiation compared to the rest of the market. But we're not upselling them too much. So we rolled the dice and we said, एक काम करते हैं, we'll take all the software features, bundle them together in a single pack, and you can buy the vehicle without all software features, or you can buy software separately. And it's a simple promise. Like for an average customer also, उनका perception है कि why do I need software on a scooter, right? I just need to turn on the key and go. So we started selling software separately, and I think what we have discovered here is a pretty big realization, because most people would not have imagined that about the Indian customer. Our software packs are priced between 14 to 22,000 rupees. And 9 out of 10 consumers upgrade and buy the software pack along with the vehicle. And Ather is selling about 70,000 scooters, 75,000 scooters every quarter. So it's a substantial volume all across the country. So we're able to upsell a lot of these software packs. They are one-time sale today. They're not recurring revenue today. But yes, Tesla has shown that a software pack can become recurring revenue. Tesla's software pack, it's called FSD, used to be a one-time sale. Starting, I think this year, they've now made it a subscription. This has to follow the market. The consumer has to be ready for it.
So are you also thinking of a subscription kind of model for this?
I don't know. I'm really wary of doing subscription because the Indian consumer may or may not be ready for it. Today, sale of non-vehicle revenue is roughly about 14% of our sales. About half of that would be software. And software is like nearly 90% margin. It's at a good place. Breaking this down into like monthly or quarterly collections, like I'm sure a lot of SaaS industry folks will tell me that it's a nightmare to do collections in India. Trying to collect 200, 500 rupees every month from consumers across the country is not an easy job, and a lot of leakage there. But I also, having said that, I also do believe that increasingly the customer base is becoming comfortable with it. Increasingly, a new age customer is already living with 5, 6, 7, 10 subscriptions, which are auto-renewed every month. So it's not a far-fetched idea. And I would bet good money that if somebody is going to try that innovation, it'll probably be Ather, given how much we have already tried new things on the business model on software. So we might be one of the first ones to try it, but I still think there's some time.
Tarun, sticking to the point of software, I was just wondering if competitors start bundling similar features at probably no cost or at a little bit of higher cost. Does that challenge your ability to monetize software capability?
You know, as it so happens, that's exactly what happens today. Our peers also have many of these features, and they are bundled free along with the vehicle. Our pitch is a bit more nuanced. We've invested a lot of time in building different experiences. We've spent a lot of time thinking like a tech company, thinking like a software company. We have thought about usage. An automotive company typically thinks of features, marketing, brochure features, right? Like आपकी कार में cruise control होगा. I'm sure the car salesman wouldn't have told you how the cruise control feature works. Like he didn't in my case. Okay, it's standard. Like nobody bothers explaining you all these features that are even built. And if you're not describe the feature, you're not going to use the feature. And if you're not going to use the feature, the company has no incentive in building a good feature. So everybody just does a tick mark feature development, which has been the case with software in our industry for the longest time. We've done tick mark wala development, right? भाई Android Auto दे दिया, अब आप देख लेना, right? Cruise control है, ADAS है, कौन ADAS use करता है? Nobody knows, right? What features used? Nobody tracks. We've done the full polar opposite. Recently, we published data about how much every single feature is actually used. There are features where 30-40% of a fleet uses every single day. Navigation, like onboard navigation, is used in our case every week. And I think some like 50-70,000 people are using it every single day. Like most, and this is not Android Auto, this is onboard navigation. So we've thought differently, we've built these feature sets very differently, which is why we are able to monetize them when our competition is not. See, this is a great margin business. Like logically, everybody should be taking software out and pricing it separately. The reason people are not, I think, is more nuanced. Then they just forgot about it. it's needed a lot of development, a lot of investment, a lot of focus from our side to build it differently, to make sure that our dealers can sell this. Because the assumption of every dealer in India is, software kaun kharidega yaar? Which customer buys software on automotive? That too in a scooter. Like, who buys software on a scooter? गाड़ी में फिर भी शायद गलती से खरीद लूंगा. Scooter पे कौन खरीदने वाला है? So it's taken a lot of education of the dealer community. It's taken a lot of marketing. It's taken a lot of feature development and a lot of technology work. Today, the largest engineering team that we have in the company today is the software engineering team. And it's not large enough. I'm sure we can actually have a much larger team even now. So
what's the size of the team right now?
I think it'll be about, all put together, about maybe 140, 150 people. Yeah.
So what you mean to say is that the quality of the features that you're providing in the bundle, that is much more important than just providing the feature, whether at no cost or whether on a pro pack kind of model.
If you want to monetize it, people will only pay for value, and value will only be realized if people use it, right? Otherwise, it's just good vibes, right? मुझे अच्छा लगा, आपने 4 feature दे दिए. I felt happy buying that vehicle, but I don't think I'm going to use them, so I won't pay up for it. If you tell them, will you pay me 1,000 rupees extra? People say it's okay, keep it, right? So if you want to monetize it, you'll have to build something people will use a lot.
Tarun, I will go to the point of government policy. You have talked about that Ather should be given a chance when it comes to PLI scheme. PLI schemes selection was done a few years back. The government has not opened it for any other players now. I just wanted to understand that on one hand, Ather has applied for the PLI scheme, but recently, you said that not having PLI actually makes your pricing more disciplined and your P&L more resilient. So how do you reconcile these two positions, and if you can explain these points?
Oh, both are completely true. See, if you lose something or if you get hurt, it makes you more resilient. But you will not go out and say कि रोड मारो मुझे, right? मतलब कभी किसी ने आपको accident, if you struggle, if you had an accident, you learn something out of it. But you don't wish an accident upon yourselves every single day. That's how I think about the PLI policy. It's an amazing policy. It is very important for our industry. And honestly, PLI, if it were to deliver on its promise, can open up a massive export of electric two-wheelers from India. India stands at the cusp of a huge export market. See, obviously, courtesy some great legacy players, India is an important two-wheeler exporter even today. But we are getting a sliver of the global revenue of two-wheelers. Like, I think we get something like 7-8% of the global revenue. The bulk of the revenue does not come to us. The bulk of the revenue goes to the Chinese and mostly the Japanese, right? Who build great brands historically on the petrol side. But electric we have no competition. It is so rare and such a brilliant opportunity to find ourselves where we are with electric two-wheelers. India is, not debatably, India is genuinely, no debate about it, the cutting edge of electric two-wheeler technology today on software, on batteries, on charging, on onboard charging, on power electronics, transmission, and the cost structures. We have hands down the best electric two-wheelers for the global market. China has a lot of them, but China has a lot of entry-level products. China is not very concerned about the mid-tier market where we operate today and the premium markets. As the global markets go electric, there is literally only one country which can supply to all of them, which is India. And PLI can play, not just in the next 1 or 2 years, even over a longer time period, because the budgets are still there. I think PLI can play a massive role in opening exports as a big opportunity for our industry. It's a $100 billion market. But PLI needs to reform. It's a very potential policy, but one that is really not having any innovation engine behind it. PLI you couldn't apply if you are a startup. The only way to apply is if you had no revenue, which is obviously a mistake. What if a startup had 100 rupees of revenue? You couldn't apply. This needs to be corrected. Today, the Indian charging standard is the Ather charging standard. Ather is the largest public charging infrastructure for electric two-wheelers in India. 5,000 fast chargers. We are the #1 e-two-wheeler manufacturer in South, in Jammu Kashmir, in Northeast. 20% national market share. and we can't get PLI. Players who are 3, 4, 5 times smaller can get PLI because they have petrol scooter or petrol motorcycle revenue. There's obviously a gap here in the market. So we do believe, and we'll continue making that argument, that PLI needs to be, and it's not just us, there are many other very, very innovative startups putting in hundreds of crores in R&D and capex every year who are not able to claim PLI, which is creating a very convoluted structure where PLI, which was meant to push electrification, is penalizing almost every pure electric player. So every pure electric player now has to wait until PLI ends, which is not what PLI should be all about. PLI should be able to leverage that budget and actually give a push to pure EV players to further pull everybody in. Because pure EV players will push the market. We are the ones who, for say existential, right? Will push the market, will build new products, will grow international, will grow exports. And when we do it, the legacy players will respond, right? But without startups, this train has no engine. It can't move. It only has carriages.
Tarun, I want to understand that if PLI is today open for startups like you, will your investments will your plans for investment pricing, will they change, or you are resilient enough that even if it is not there, you will continue to function as is?
We will not die without PLI, but we will have to keep delaying products and we'll have to wait to be on an even footing with the rest of the players. And this is delaying the market. Look at the industry. The industry is not practically grown over the last 2 years. Why has that happened? That's happened because a startup like ours, we can't enter many segments. Like the reason I don't want to go below 1 lakh is because I'm competing with players who have 18% PLI. 18%. Like, how do you fight with 18%? It's like both hands tied behind your back. So you can't, it doesn't make logical sense. So I will have to delay entering motorcycles, I will have to delay going into exports, I will have to delay entering sub 1 lakh, which is not productive for the country. I think if players like us, and particularly more startups, because startups will always open up a new category. If startups have PLI, startups will open up new category, it'll drive more volumes, it'll drive new capacity, it'll drive new jobs, and it will drive existing players to also catch up. But if you take startups out of the equation and penalize them, then no new category will open up, and you will just be stuck with the same segments doing the same volumes.
Tarun, my last question is to you is about electric motorcycles. So we talked about that how, when it comes to electric scooters, India and China are the key markets where the development is happening or where the products are being, put out by the manufacturers. Can you tell me what are the hurdles when it comes to electric motorcycles? Because motorcycles are sold, when I'm talking about petrol motorcycles, they are sold in many more numbers as compared to scooters, but the electrification there is minuscule. So yeah, what are the reasons? What are the hurdles in that segment?
So one point would be the same. Again, it's a new segment. Opening it up would require an existing legacy OEM, petrol OEM, would have no incentive to open up motorcycles, electric motorcycles, because it's so profitable to build a petrol motorcycle today in India. Why would you cannibalize yourselves building an electric one where your margins would be a fraction? The only players who will have an incentive are once again startups who got nothing to lose. Kuch to bana hai. So they will open up this category. But it doesn't make sense for us again to enter this space without PLI particularly. I would say that's actually the biggest reason. I can give you a lot of good other logical reasons, we're looking at the TCO and, we're looking at the market size and the growth rates, and scooters are a little better than motorcycles. They're all great, but honest to hand on heart, yeah, motorcycles are 60% of the market. We should all be building them. But we are lacking a structural incentive to open up a new category by taking PLI away from newer players. Simple.
So you mean to say that the pricing of the product, if it is
why would you enter a segment where you know that an incumbent has an 18% advantage against you on pricing? You're just discouraged from day one from even attempting. We're building scooters. We're here. We built some advantages with software pricing, ye margin, wo margin. So we can now, we can fight this. We can fight in this game. But entering a new segment is a lot more risky. So, which is why I keep reiterating, it's a very powerful policy, particularly for exports. It needs to be given the teeth and the power by including startups in it.
Thank you for the insightful answer, Tarun. We have time for probably one question from the audience. If you want to ask, please raise your hand and introduce yourself and ask your question in short. Yeah.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for a lot of insights, and it was a good session. I'm Gaurav Mathur from Grundfos. My question to you is that you actually probably say that software is a big part of the product which you are developing. What is the problem which you are working now, which you will be solving through software in future, if you can tell?
As you can imagine, I can't give away my roadmap for the next 2-3 years. But I can talk about one feature which is right now a fairly viral feature that we are about to, it's in beta right now. It'll go into public deployment, I think, in a month's time. We've been mapping city roads. Okay, so because it's a connected vehicle and we have 40 sensors, 50 sensors, whatever, a lot of sensors across the vehicle, we've been using them to understand road topology, which is fancy way of speaking, we know where the potholes are, right? We know where the potholes are, we know where the speed breakers are, we know where the road is bad, where the road is good, you know, where there is no road, maybe, right? So we have this data. And in this new feature that will go live, it's called pothole alerts. We will alert users before they encounter a pothole. And we are going to start mass production of a smart helmet, which is, by the way, 2,000 rupee smart helmet, so it's not very expensive. If you put that helmet on, the helmet will whisper in your ear if you are approaching a pothole at an unsafe speed. So imagine, aap raat ko drive kar rahe, and you're going at 60, but the road ahead is like completely breaks apart because of rains, right? Imagine the helmet could tell you, slow down, massive pothole ahead, right? It's not a very fancy feature. It's not very nerdy, geeky. It's simple. It's mainstream. Like, anybody can understand it, right? Literally, the helmet will tell you in your ears, pothole ahead, right? So that's a feature that's going live. Another feature that is going live is how do I avoid getting towed? It's called Park Safe. So we basically have some data of where scooters get towed in public areas. See, we can't tell you kahan pe legal parking hai, kahan pe nahi hai, but what we can tell you is कि यहाँ पे vehicle tow हो जाता है. So if you park there, we will just alert you to not park there. So many such features. Yeah. Do not give such ideas. Don't put us in a difficult situation.
Can we take one more question? Yeah.
We are really out of time. Okay, one.
Just one more question. Yeah.
Hi, sir. Mohit Patnagar this side. I'm a student of finance. I have a concern regarding the consumer sentiment towards the 10-year trajectory. Since we are having a trade deal with US, we might have Harley Davidson coming in India. So an aspirational class of product is also developing in India. Do you think that India might shift majorly towards a 5 lakh rupee bike or a scooter rather than a utility-based scooter in a 10-year down the line?
Absolutely. In fact, if you go see our IPO pitch deck, our DRHP, literally, I think the first section says betting on premiumization, and where we explain how all the prices will go up and north like this. We are an economy that's at $2,700 per capita GDP. We'll go to $5,000 per capita GDP by whatever, FY30, and hopefully in a 10-year time period, something like $7,000-8,000. तो खरीदेंगे अच्छा vehicle खरीदेंगे क्यों नहीं खरीदेंगे? Luckily, we are in an industry where you can make 5 lakhs rupees per annum, 20 lakh rupees per annum, or 80 lakh rupees per annum. You will still likely be riding a two-wheeler on our roads, right? So we will obviously upgrade up. That is a fundamental bet that we have made. We are betting on the upgradation of the Indian customer and premiumization. Equally, zero worries कि इसका मतलब, you know, imports will flood the market. We are the most efficient cost structure in the world. Indian two-wheeler manufacturing, petrol or electric, we are hands down the most efficient and the lowest cost production in the world, including China. So I'm very bullish that if this means Harley Davidsons are going to be sold to a lot of consumers in India, I would bet that those Harleys would be produced in India, right? And not imported out of US. It is so much better to produce here, better quality, better control, better distribution, better supplies, everything. So I think two-wheeler manufacturing will continue to grow in share of the manufacturing GDP, and it'll be one of the larger segments over the next 10 years.
Tarun, thank you for a well-rounded, frank and candid discussion.